Welcome. I'm John Gillane with Mountain West IRA. Today we're here to tell you about self-directed IRAs and purchasing real estate inside of your IRA. First, let me say that we do not sell any products. Mountain West IRA, we don't promote and we don't offer any investments. We do not offer any investment, tax, or financial advice either. So if you believe that you need advice, you should consult with the appropriate professional licensed in that area. Let's start with what an IRA is and who I am. I am a certified IRA service provider. I've been with Morgan Stanley in the past, was a financial advisor for over 26 years. We have offices in Idaho and Utah, and I'm the CEO of Mountain West IRA. What a self-directed IRA is we act as the administrator for your IRA, just like you would have anybody else that controls your IRA. We do the record keeping and we do the administration for the custodian. Contributions into your IRA must be in cash and accounts must always be fully vested. IRAs cannot purchase life insurance policies. Let's go through what a self-directed IRA is. On one side, the left side is you, the IRA holder. On the right side is this little guy, Uncle Ira is what I call him. And Uncle Ira has to sign the documents for whatever goes inside your IRA, which can be rental properties, land, any type of investment real estate. You cannot live in properties that are inside your IRA. They must be for investment purposes only. We are what's called a third-party administrator at Mountain West IRA. Our custodian is Sterling Savings Bank. That's where all of your cash funds are held, and they are held in FDIC insured accounts while you're looking for an investment or at the time you're investing. Here are the different types of plans that you can invest in with your IRA. There is a traditional IRA, which is the oldest. Most people know about that. That is where you can put $5,000 in or $6,000 if you're age 50 and above, and then you can invest that money. SEP IRA is like a traditional for small business owners, usually individuals who don't have employees, and you can put 25% of your income up to $49,000 a year into a SEP. And it works the same way, tax deferred, whether it's traditional or SEP. And when you take the money out in the end, it's taxed at whatever your marginal tax rates are at that time. Then there's something called a simple plan. That too is like a traditional IRA, same tax benefits, but it's for small employers with people less than 100 employees. On the other side of the equation, we have Roth IRAs. On Roth IRAs, you don't get to deduct what you put in. It's taxable as you earn it. It goes into the Roth, either $5,000 or $6,000 after the age of 50 each year, and it grows tax-free and it comes out tax-free. The benefit of that is you're paying taxes on the nut and you're not paying taxes on the tree when it's fully developed. And then there's also something called a spousal IRA. And spousal IRA is just for a non-working spouse. If you've got one spouse working, the other isn't, the spouse can also put in $5,000 a year or $6,000 if they're age 50 and above. There's a couple of plans that are called qualified plans. A lot of people know about these. There's defined benefit plans. They're usually called PERS plans. For state employees, teachers, things like that. When you get ready to retire, those plans can be transferred over to an IRA and invested self-directed the way you want. Same thing with defined contribution plans. Plans such as a 401k if you're in business, a 403b if you're a school teacher, 457 as a state employee, or you're under a 503c corporation with a plan. Those also, when you leave the companies, and in some cases, even while you're at the company, you can roll those over to an IRA and invest them in real estate the way you want versus being in the market. There's also a couple of other little plans. One's called an HSA. So if you have a high deductible health insurance policy, and they're specifically called high deductible health insurance policies, you can have an HSA account. You can put up to $6,150 as a married couple or $3,050 as a single individual, and that money can go in. You get to write it off. You don't have to use it for medical expenses in the year that you put it in like you used to, and it grows tax deferred, and if it comes out for medical expenses later, it's tax free. So you get tax benefits on both ends. And it can be invested in real estate just like a traditional IRA or any other IRA product. They can also be commingled. For example, you can't commingle the actual accounts, but you can buy a piece of real estate, and if you have a traditional IRA and an HSA, 50% of it can go in the traditional, 50% can go in the HSA, and allow income to be earned in both areas. There's also something called a Coverdell ESA account. That's for kids under the age of 18. The donor can put in $2,000 per year per child. That's deductible to the donor. The child then gets to use the cash inside there for college or higher education when they get ready to go to school. And as long as they use that money for educational purposes before the age of 30, it all comes out tax-free. So again, there's a tax benefit for the donor and a tax benefit for the person coming out. Now, if I can show you a way to double your retirement plan overnight, I'm sure you'd like to hear about it. I know there's a bunch of numbers on this page, but we're going to go through them piece by piece. On the top, it's if you had an IRA, let's say back in 2007, that had $200,000 in it, with the market drop and with all the volatility, maybe it's worth $100,000 now. Now they've come up a little bit, we've seen some go more, but I'm going to keep this illustration simple at, let's say it went down 50%. You can take that $100,000 cash in your IRA, and instead of having it in the stock market, you can go buy a property. Let's say you find a property, this figure on the right side, of $180,000. So you buy the property at $180,000, you can get something called a non-recourse loan inside of an IRA, which means your IRA actually borrows the money. Your FICO scores aren't used, your credit score isn't used. The ability to get the loan is based on the ability for the IRA to pay the mortgage payment through rents. So we find a $180,000 property, we put down $63,000. So you have $37,000 cash left over from the $100,000. Now you've got, the day you close on that property, you've got an IRA valued at $217,000. So that $100,000 IRA becomes worth $217,000. Now you're scratching your head and you're saying, yeah, but I'm not quite sure about this. Let me go through and explain exactly how this works. It really is valued at $217,000 because you bought a property at that market value. And granted, there's properties for a lot less today with the market, but this is if you bought something at full value. And let's say that you earned capital appreciation on that property. Now for the last 25 years, from 2008 backwards for about 25 years, rental properties have earned about 6.84% capital appreciation cash on cash. But let's say that the next 25 years or even the next 10 years isn't as good as it used to be. Let's say that the value goes up at 40% of what it used to go up, and your appreciation over the next 10 years is 3% per year. Well, the interesting thing is you're no longer earning money on the $100,000, your capital appreciation is based on the $180,000, which means that $5,400 a year times 3%, it's 180, and 3% of 180 is 5,400 times 10 years is $54,000 simple interest, not compounded. Now if you take this and add it to the original balance, you now have appreciation of $271,000. But you also have a mortgage on the property that we can't forget about. Now let's say that rents on this property were $900 a month. Now this is a property, this is an actual property in portfolio. It's actually earning about $1,400 a month, but let's go with a lot of markets and say it's $900 after you pay property taxes and insurance, because property taxes have to be paid by the IRA when it owns that property. So at the end of 10 years, you're going to owe about $40,000 left on the loan. But here's the kicker. The person paying the loan is your renter. So you've got a renter putting money into your IRA that you didn't have the ability to put in. You can still put in your $5,000 or $6,000 contribution. The renter can pay in whatever market rates are providing. Now we're not including any inflation here because as inflation goes up, rents have a tendency to go up. We're just keeping it at a flat $900 per month for 10 years. So your net appreciation, if you sold the property in 10 years, it would be about $231,000. But remember, we still have $37,000 cash in there we haven't done anything with. So your appreciation on this property, if it were $100,000, is about 23% per year annually. Now the market average is about 10 to 10.25% per year on an annual basis. That's based on Ibbotson charts that looks at these types of things from 1925 forward. So we have about a 23% return. But what about the $37,000? It's not been earning any interest. It's just been sitting there. Let's do something with that. Now, in this particular portfolio, what the person did was they went out and bought tax deeds. This was raw land, what's called improved raw land. And this is 5 different deeds valued from $4,000 to $9,000. I just rounded them off. They paid $31,000 for these deeds, and now they have the $31,000 deeds, or the 5 deeds inside their IRA, tax deferred or tax free. It fits in a Roth. The next column is the assessed value. In 2008, when these were purchased, the assessed value of these deeds was $150,000. Now, here's something very interesting. Let's say over the next 10 years, all these deeds do is get back to the original 2008 value. They don't appreciate any above what that value is. But let's add in inflation. Now, who knows what inflation is going to be the next 10 years? If you remember 79 through 83, it was 14, 15, 16%. But I went a little more conservative and looked at over the next 10 years, let's say the average inflation rate is 5% per year for the next 10 years. Right now, we're sitting at about 4 to 4.3%. So it's not going to take a lot to get there. On the original investment, you're with inflation, that $31,000 now is $50,000. And the reason I say it's now $50,000 because land historically has always matched or beat inflation. So you have $50,000 of value. If all this property does is get back to its original 2008 value by 2018, this portfolio is worth $200,000. You subtract out the $31,000 you paid, that's $170,000. You add it on to the $230,000 that from the previous slide, that $100,000 IRA is now valued at $400,000, or an average annual rate of return of 40%. And now, I'm not guaranteeing anything. I'm not saying that's going to happen. It's a hypothetical situation. But that's the type of growth that you can see in your IRA with real estate by using inflation to your advantage. Now, let me quickly go through something called asset allocation and mixed portfolio theory. I was published about 4 or 5 years ago on mixed portfolio theory, and what I did was show what if, instead of being in the stock market, that was in the real estate market, and how would it compare based on historical figures. And this is how it works. Modern portfolio theory, a lot of you may have heard it called asset allocation. All financial advisors use this now. And they say, okay, what is your risk tolerance? This would be a moderate tolerance. So 10% in cash, which is put in treasury bills at 3.7%. Now, granted, today treasury bills are about 0 to 0.1, but I'm going long term. So let's say long term, it's averaged 3.7%, which it has from 1925 through 2009. Next is bonds. These are corporate bonds. These are not treasury bonds. These are corporate bonds, have averaged about 5.5% return long term. And then the rest in stocks, 60% in stocks for your aggressive growth portfolio. And that has been about 9.7% return since 1925 through 2009. So we take, in this situation, I took a $250,000 portfolio, total return pre-inflation of 7.84% when you mix the three together. Now, the one thing that always bothered me about modern portfolio theory or asset allocation is that it's considered that you can increase your returns and lower your risk by having this diversification. The problem with it is by decreasing risk, you normally lower your returns. So you prevent the major downward trends by having it diversified, but you also permanently give up the upside potential. So let's look at what happens inside of real estate with this. So the same $250,000 portfolio, we take 15% of that and put it in first trust deeds backed by asset, backed by the property, with an average rate of return of 12%, which is since the Economic Recovery Tax Act of 1986, when there were a lot of changes in real estate, that's the average return that we've seen on trust deeds, first trust deeds, or mortgages, sometimes they're called. So you've got that 15%, the return on that of 12% on the 15, then you put 35% in a rental. Now where this 35% comes from is the rest is in a loan to the rental, and that's average 20% return, average annual with the loan. So cash on cash in there. And then the other 50% in land for your aggressive growth. And land's a very funny thing. It can do nothing for a couple years, it can go down significantly for a couple years, and then it can go up 200, 300, 4%. And what I did is look at from 1986 forward, land has averaged about a 20% average annual return. So what this gives us now, instead of 7.84 mixed return, is 18.5% before inflation. So let's look at this from a what happens to the money over time. And it's called Rule of 72. Rule of 72 is how quickly your money doubles. It's a theory from Einstein. So we look at our modern portfolio, and it's at 7.84% before you take out inflation. So the way that this works, and you can use this with any numbers, it's 72 divided by your rate of return will tell you how many years it'll take for the portfolio to double. In this case, 9.2 years. So $250,000 becomes worth $500,000 in 9.2 years and $1 million in 18.4 years. Certainly nothing to sneeze at. It's a nice return. But let's look if we take the same rule of 72, put it in mixed portfolio theory at 18.5%. Now it's 72 divided by 18.5, or your money doubles in every 3.8 years. In 3.8 years. So $250,000 becomes worth $500,000 in 3.8 years and $1 million in 7.8. But let's take this out to 19 years, fully extended out like the other portfolio that was at $1 million. In 11.4 years, you've got $2 million, 15.24 million, and in 19 years, $8 million. Same $250,000 starting, just invested in a different portfolio. That is a huge difference and will make a huge difference in your retirement planning. I appreciate your time today, and what I want to do is just go through one more thing and go through how you open a self-directed IRA. It's not difficult and it's not costly. First, there's an application that we have you fill out and a fee disclosure form. Our fees are simple. It's $50 to open an account. To buy a piece of real estate in is $195. And our fee annually is $300 a year for us to administer the real estate inside of the IRA. And then you have to give us a transfer form from your old IRA holder that we transfer directly, so there's no tax losses to you, there's no tax ramifications. It transfers directly from company A to us. We need the last statement from the transferring company, a copy of your driver's license, and the original check for $50 to open the account. Everything else we bill when you actually do the real estate transaction. I hope this was helpful and it gives you some ideas on how to make money in real estate, and call us and find out more. Thank you very much for your time.